let's get started. We're super excited. For those who don't know, my name is Ilya. Peter's going to be joining us as well from our team. And then we're also joined by Candice and Katie. So, super excited for you guys to be here, kind of just discussing some of the updates that we have. And so for those who don't know, my name is Ilya. I'm a co-founder and chief product officer at TaxDome. I'm the guy that's always asking you why, what do you think, and also pinging you about kind of, how you run your business, just so we can learn more about it. And I'll pass it over, Peter, if you could just introduce yourself and pass it on.
Of course. Nice to see you all. I see a lot of familiar names. Super excited. As mentioned, I will be at a lot of events this year. And I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at TaxDome. It's my 4th year now at TaxDome. Been a while, and I'm looking forward for many years more. And we have two beautiful people with us today, Candice and Katie. So please, Candice, take over.
My name's Candice Bruning. I'm a senior analyst with 189 Investments. 189 actually is a partner in a CPA firm called Guardian CPA. And we use and love TaxDome. TaxDome has really helped streamline our business, and I am just really happy to be here and excited to participate in this and just sing my praises as loud as I can and collaborate, which I really like. That's been the biggest experience for me, is the collaboration. So thanks for having me on, guys.
Beautiful. And Katie.
My name is Katie. I am the Chief Operating Officer at M&D Accounting. I live in Colorado, but the company is actually in North Carolina, so that's kind of fun. It took me 3 years to actually meet the owner of the company, but hey, it works out. And I found TaxDome a couple of years ago, and I just absolutely love it. I love how much we've grown in the past 2.5 years that we've been part of it. And just all the new features that have come, especially that have been coming out lately, have been just great. And being able to work closely with them and just help kind of shape some of the features that have come out has been a great experience also.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk a lot about those updates that have been the updates that we have from the second quarter, but also just kind of for those who don't know us, we kind of just wanted to tell you who we are. We are TaxDome. We are a practice management software, and the way we want to think about it is we believe that both accountants and their clients deserve a software that they actually love to use, genuinely. And so right now we have over 10,000 firms using us in more than 25 countries. Somebody was asking about the Netherlands earlier. We're in the Netherlands, amongst other places. And in general, we very much just we listen to the community. We are focused on innovation and change and improvement, simply because you can't stay still, and it's not will never ever be done, because the needs of the customers and the needs of the customers of our customers will constantly evolve, and we're here to listen to you. We're here to put your feedback into place and to keep the project moving. So mainly wanted to get that across. So for those of you who don't know us, we have our team here to also answer any questions you have, but we'll get into some of the updates. But before we do that, we're actually super excited. We actually just won an award for the CPA Practice Advisor, their Reader's Choice Awards 2024. We won the Comprehensive Firm Workflow Solution. So more than 5,000 people voted in there, and we were voted the winner of it. And I believe in maybe 3 or 4 other categories, we were placed in the top 5 as well. So thank you for all. Top three. Yeah, so thank you for all that voted. But I wanted to kind of just show up here in the sense of the difference between a product, which is a feature, right? Which is document management or invoices. Those are all individual features, but we are a platform, and what that means is we're here to really provide you with all of the tools that your firm and the clients of your firm need to really make your business operate. And just to give you some of the scale of what that is, just in the past year, these are just some rough numbers of how much people are using TaxDome. So more than 1 million jobs have been completed. So if you're not using our workflow, please get in there. Our team is here to answer any questions you have, really get you up and running with it. But we really believe that it's going to be what really propels your firm to really the next level. We released proposals and engagement letters, and that's been a kind of a huge hit in terms of being able to present your brand and to provide your client with a great experience to review your offerings, sign the engagement letter, and also collect payment right from there if you wish there as well. And within that, more than $400 million of invoices have been paid just in the past year within TaxDome. So wanted you guys just to see the scale, and this is just some of it, but we wanted you to understand how much people are using it, and we really want you to really make the most of it. So if you ever have any questions, our team is here. We actually just hosted a boot camp. So more than 1,000 people have attended the boot camp, which was a week-long live workshop sessions about that. And if you haven't, please check out the recording. But we're very excited about that. And just before we get into it, I just wanted to kind of explain who we are, what we're doing, and really kind of understand, have you understand the vision of the platform that we are and where we're going to be. So Peter, do you want to just kick off quickly on the agenda of what we'll be discussing as we're going here?
Of course. So the first topic will be about our new reporting tool. We will see, how you can use it. We will also recommend you how to utilize it, and then we will go over of our new feature, the client-facing job status, which will help to decrease your communication with your clients, to do less check-ins, but we will go into more detail later. And in the end, we will talk about our new invoicing, how it looks, how you can brand it for your firm. And we will also show you, we will explain also a little bit to help you more into your client branding.
Yeah, so let's get into an AI-powered reporting, and what that means is really it's a super customizable tool for you to really gather the insights you need from within your practice. So if we start going there, is why do you want to be a data-driven organization? And you're all accountants. You're you're in the accounting world, so I presume you all understand it. But just put some numbers behind it. This is according to McKinsey, the businesses that really make data-driven decisions, they are the ones that are going to be more profitable. They're the ones that are really going to succeed. And as your firm gets to a certain scale, you really need to be thinking along those lines. And I mean, Katie, Candice, how do you guys think about this within your firm? Are there specific KPIs you guys are tracking, on a staff metrics? Are you looking at a client basis? How do you think about this?
We started kind of looking more into it and seeing what we can pull reports on, and have kind of started reformatting the way we do things so that we can pull that information. One of the ways that we've done that is especially for our bookkeeping clients, and using the time entries and seeing how much time we're actually spending on these bookkeeping clients. Are they are they not paying enough for the amount of time we're spending on them, and that kind of thing. So that's been really helpful to kind of see. We had one client we were spending 20 plus hours a month, and other clients where we were spending like maybe 2 hours a month. So it kind of really gave us a good vision of what was going on, put things in perspective. And so the more I look into the reports and stuff like that, the more we're kind of like reformatting some of the ways that we are doing things. So that's been helpful.
And within that, have you often been surprised as to the data? Does it usually match your intuition, or sometimes do you come in there and the numbers are actually very different than what you thought they were?
Yeah.
We knew that this specific client, we knew we were spending more time on them. We just did not realize how much more time we were spending in them. And we didn't realize how much more time we were spending on other clients. There were some that were really high, not as high as this one specific person, but there were some that were really high. And, we knew that, they were getting a little bit more time, but not as much time as they were getting.
And within that, actually, our team is kind of a little sneak peek there. Our team is actually working to provide specifically, so it's within the job itself. So not even we're talking about reporting here, but our team is actually working on having budgeting be within the job itself right there and then, so you don't have to even dig into the report. It'll always be front and center, specifically with what you're referring to there. So I think that should also help you there as well.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, as an analyst, data is king. And, we do a pretty good job of keeping our business decisions data driven from a KPI level, and just having the new reporting tool. We had timing in a different piece of software, recording time, and we had being able to have it all in one piece of software where you can see what the time spent to the revenue received, what percentage of progress are we making on our bookkeeping clients. And we actually just went through this exercise Katie's talking about, and I was really quickly able to pull reports, and in 2 days we were able to increase prices on, I think, at least 40 or 50 clients that we were like, oh, we're definitely, overspending on time with these clients. So it made that process that last year took us a month. We were able to pull the data and be able to go ahead and send out all of that communication within 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So big
Awesome.
difference.
Awesome. But I wanted to kind of move, if we look at actually what this looks like is, really the AI powered reporting tool is really kind of real-time visibility into the data within your firm. And there's some questions actually here which we'll address about how you guys are actually using it within your platforms, within your workspaces. But the main thing I wanted to get across is it's super, super customizable. So pretty much every piece of data within your firm, you can put that on a dashboard. So this is just a sample dashboard of KPIs that you can have, but within your firm, you might have different KPIs that you're tracking. So you can put the dashboards of which specific ones you're interested in and have that there. So, we already have ready-made reports. So there are a couple of reports that have just been pre-built for our team. So, receivables, utilization rate, where's your revenue coming from? But on top of that, you can customize reports to whatever it is that you want them to do. So actually shooting this over to Candice, have you actually made any custom reports on here, or have you just been using the standard ones?
Well, I love the standard ones. But again, like you said, everyone is has their own KPIs. So yeah, I was able to build, we have groups, we consider them groups, and they're kind of like different locations in the United States. And so I'm building dashboards for each group specifically, because they all kind of operate a little bit differently. And yeah, I've definitely been able to dive in. And I mean, I think I've created, it didn't take me that long, honestly, a full dashboard with probably 30 or 40 different reports. And I use tabs on the dashboards, so that each department within those groups can, have their own metrics. So I have to say, I'm very impressed. Like I said, I'm an analyst and this is what I do for a living. And the scalability, whether you want to just make an easy report or what you're doing and you can get in and really set parameters and set filters, and you can do a lot in there. And I'm really happy to see, I'm looking forward to even more releases coming out and getting in more detail. Other people may not want any more detail. But I think you can do both. Like you can keep it high level and just do your basic table report, or you can really get detailed and create some cool visuals.
Candice, I assume that you're tech savvy, but would you say that it was complicated, or was it like super easy to set up or to find those reports?
I would say if you want it to be complicated, it can be. If you want to just create a basic table report, you can do that very easily. So I think, like I said, I think you guys did a good job of making this scalable for, anyone, a basic user that can watch maybe a video on how to do it, 1 or 2 videos on how to do it. They can put a basic report together. If you have someone who's really knowledgeable about statistics or is an analyst or something, then you can really get in and you see the features that you're used to seeing. So
I think the complicated part is figuring out what you want.
Yeah.
What exactly are you looking for? Because there's so much availability in there that you kind of have to play like, okay, do I need, this information, or is it this information? Or do I need both pieces of information? So that kind of where it becomes complicated is figuring out exactly what you're looking for to make whatever report you're trying to figure out. So in that, it's complicated, and that it can be kind of frustrating in a like what exactly am I looking for? What do I need to put in here to make it what I want?
What am I measuring? Yeah.
Exactly. But I don't think the actual process of doing it is complicated. It's just the figuring out what you want, what you're looking for that can be complicated.
So what I understand here is it's better you understand your business, how you want to move, drive your
Yes.
business. It's better
Exactly.
you're going to use this report. All right, perfect. Thank you.
And the way, and so
Yeah.
we've added some ready-made reports, but over time we're going to be adding more and more because we're looking at what are people interested in, what are the common reports that people are building, and then we're just going to keep adding them because we've already built the foundation of it. So we're going to keep adding more and more ready-made reports so that you can see, is this a report that is interesting in my business? And it might not be today, but maybe as your team grows, maybe you expand to more services, it might become more relevant for your firm. So we're definitely going to keep adding those. So on your guys' end, if you and to the listeners, if there are specific reports that you're interested in, let us know because we're going to we'll add them in, because if you're interested in them, likely other people are also interested in them and it might be useful. So, let our team know the reports that you're building, and then we're going to keep adding them in there. But it's super customizable. So even if we build a report, you can then modify it to your specific use case. And actually, from our team, do you guys mind also putting in the link to the webinar? So because this is it's a very comprehensive tool, we've recorded a webinar that is more really dives into how to use these reports, how to edit them, how to customize it. So we'll put the link in here as well, so you guys can see that, because we didn't want to get kind of too deep in the woods here, because I think that's the kind of thing that you really need to sit down and play with it while you're doing it. But we do have a ready-made webinar that covers that and really in-depth content to help you build the reports that you're looking for.
One thing I
So,
wanted to say really quick also is whenever what I really like about what you guys did is a lot of times you look at data and you say, well, what is that number made up of? And the drill down feature and the underlying data and being able to right click and see what data is underneath that is beautiful. And it's pre-built for you. You don't even have to build, you can add in the columns. Yeah. Add in the columns that you want. And you can see all the data right there and what makes up that number that you're looking at. So you can build these great visuals that high level can see, and then you can drill down.
Exactly. So actually perfect timing. This is exactly what we wanted to show you. I mean,
Okay.
we didn't even practice that. It just worked out.
That was so organic. That was good.
So this is great. I mean, this is the, to our team, this is the storytelling aspect of it. A webinar has to follow. So the fact that we got this right there, that's the story we want to tell us. That's great. But yeah, and the main thing here is this video that was playing is that, see if I click there again, is that each piece of data, if you're interested in it, you can click on it and then see where did it come from, right? So if you're, if you guys are, used to these data visualization tools, you'll understand this, but you're familiar with it. But as you guys see on here, you can always see where does this come from. And if for those of you that use tax software, you can do that as well. Right click and see where it comes from. Very similar idea here, but in table and visualization format, which is usually points you to some random cell. Here, it actually points you to the actual relevant data. So it's in a readable format instead of just, cell B3.
Yeah, and a use case that that everybody will identify with is we had a report that shows how many bookkeeping jobs are in what stage, right? And then we drill down on the data, and you can right click and say, I want to see the ones that are in waiting on client or whatever the stage is. And then you can also then from there, the whole report changes, and you can see what tasks are still outstanding and why they're waiting on client. And, it's just a really, great way for us to managers to start moving jobs along and saying, hey, we're getting stuck here, or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you. You can go to the next slide. How do I think I clicked over? Oh, let me see the next. There we go. All right. And then once you've looked at the actual data, everyone likes data in, visualizations differently. So here you can customize how you actually view the data, right? Some people prefer it to be table format. Some people prefer charts, some people prefer graphs. It's all available to you and how you want to view the data, especially if you have you know, a team that you're reporting into. If you're preparing a report, you know, for a Monday meeting or something like that, people just keep in mind people are visual learners and some prefer in different ways. So you might want to have the same report in both table format, and then here's the chart with it, that how it works. So you can have both of those in, you know, visualizing it as much as you want in this video that you can see here. Actually curious, you know, Katie, in your reports that you're building, do they tend to be the same, or do you vary it by use case?
I haven't actually saved any. I've just kind of made them as I've needed them.
Okay.
More kind of in playing, seeing what there is at this point, until we figure out exactly what we need on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot there, you know, so it's been a lot. It's been helpful.
I would
Well,
love
once
to see
you-
a reporting forum, like a
Yeah.
reporting group that meets once a month or something like that. I would really like that. I think we could knowledge share. You know,
Yeah.
that'd be something I'd be interested in for sure.
So actually, our team is working on, you know, really enhancing the community in terms of, you know, the Facebook community is kind of, I think, pretty limited. So we're over the next year, excuse me, by the end of the year, looking to move to a different community where you'd be able to have more breakout sessions and things like that, specifically for use cases like that. So we're working on that as well, just because there's a lot of shared knowledge amongst different, you know, different firms, different use cases where people can brainstorm and see what's working for others. But specifically with regards to this, once you've saved the reports that you're interested in, oftentimes you want to track them, you know, week after week, month after month to see how they're tracking. So what you can do is you can set them up to be automatically scheduled. So a lot of times we find that people have a Monday meeting or Tuesday, you know, some kind of weekly meeting where the partners meet to see how things are tracking. You can have your ready-made reports be sent automatically, you know, be ready with the most up-to-date data right before the meeting or at the time of the meeting. So this is, you know, useful for those of you that are, you know, if you're reporting into somebody, you can set it up once and just have it ready made for you there. I mean, within any org, you want that, right? So, you know, I meet with Peter every week. He's got reports ready made for me. He's not building them once each time. It's already, you know, ready set for there. And then we have, you know, the specific topics and KPIs that we're tracking.
I wish I had AI-powered reporting for you.
Yeah.
Hey, Ilya, this is the first I heard of this. Where is that feature? Is that new?
It's in there. So this was actually added after the initial beta. So
Okay.
it's in there. Our team, I don't remember exactly where it is, what to click on, just because this is a screenshot, but our team will put in there as well of how to access the schedules. But you can definitely have this there where you choose the reports and then set up, you know, when it gets sent automatically.
So exciting.
And then this is the AI part of it, in the sense of a lot of times, like what you were talking about earlier, is people don't know the reports they want. They have an idea, they can maybe say the text, but they're not quite sure which data points that they're looking at. You can put in natural human language what you're interested in, and the tool will build the report for you. So then if you're interested, I'm curious of, you know, my clients by state, and to see which states are the most profitable, where we should, you know, which clients are the most profitable by state. Candace, kind of how you were talking about earlier, that could be something you could put in directly in human language, and the report will try to build it for you based off of the data that's in there. So it will look at your tags, you know, will recognize if something says New York or Florida, recognize that, and then build it by state there. So you can put in your put it in there and then give feedback on it, because then it will learn based off of whether it got it right or not by using the that little green button on the right or the red one there.
Awesome. I didn't see that either.
Yeah. Well, you can a lot of times, because it's different, right? I mean, you yourself mentioned you were a data analyst, right? So if you're a data analyst, you probably have an idea of exactly what you want and how to look for it. A lot of times people are brainstorming. They're, you know, I'm not quite sure where to start. I'm interested in these things, but I'm not sure. This is just a really fast way to build those reports and just have the tool build it for you, and to see, oh, actually, this is interesting. There are insights there.
Yep. And then can you edit those reports as well? Like once the AI builds it, then you just edit it.
100%. So it builds,
Okay.
once it builds the report, then you can drill into it. You can see the tools that, excuse me, the columns and the data points that it looked into, and then you can use it as if you built it as well. So whether you customize it, drill into it, look at it in a different format, modify it, save it,
Awesome.
anything you want.
Awesome.
All right. And I think that's it for reporting. But the main thing I wanted to kind of get across is TaxDome is a platform. And because you've got revenue in there, you have your workflow. So the jobs, the tasks, you can track your team performance. You can track revenue by client, by service. There's so many different data points. And the more you're using TaxDome and the more features within there, the richer the insights and the data points that you're going to get. Right. So this really kind of the main thing to get across is the quality of the insights and the data will grow the more you are using TaxDome as a platform for various different kinds of it.
I mean, as Candice said it before, you want to make data-driven decisions, but if you don't put if you don't give input, then you won't have data out there. So, please make sure you utilize everything, and then you will also have as more you utilize it, it's better decisions you will be able to make.
And one key thing I was going to say, we implemented TaxDome Tuesdays, and it's a half hour where all of our entire company gets on and we talk about tips and tricks or the need for making sure your data is clean. So when you're entering data, make sure you do it this way, make sure you don't miss this field, whatever it is that you need. And it's going very well. We have, 50, 60 people on TaxDome Tuesday, and they can submit questions prior to the meeting, and then I'll cover it or whatever, we need to cover for that day. So it's been a great way, but just to jump on your point of, garbage in, garbage out. So making sure that you are definitely clean as far as when you're putting data in, makes your reporting so much better.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, we talked about the firm operations aspect of it, of, data-driven reporting is really about enabling you and practitioners and the partners in your firm to make the best data-driven decisions as we're talking about. But now let's talk a little bit more about the client experience aspect of it, right? And one of the things that we added here is client-facing job statuses, and super, super excited about this. And really the key to think about is your client experience and putting yourselves in their shoes. And that's really something that oftentimes we as practitioners, it's easy, and it's not just practitioners, it's anybody to do that. It's hard to do that. It's hard to think about it's hard to be empathetic and put yourself in your client's shoes. And that's really one of the things we wanted to address here. Is one of the key reasons that accountants are hired, or any real service provider is hired, is peace of mind. Right. These, you guys are the experts. You guys can look at a tax return or, financial statement. You know how to read it. It makes sense to you. To your clients, oftentimes they can't. And one of the main things that they're looking for is simply, do they trust you? Do they feel they're in good hands? Do they feel that they're provided with a quality of service that they expect, that then is a reflection of the actual service that you're doing? Because they can't read your tax return, let's be honest, but they can assess if you're responding to them. They can assess if they're calling your office and nobody's picking up. They can assess if there's typos and things like that in there. So with client-facing job statuses, you're able to provide your clients a real-time update on the status of their work. And the main real thing that this does is it provides peace of mind. They don't have to call you. They don't have to wonder, is this going to get done on time? They have access to be able to see that right within their platform. And Candice or Katie, have you guys added this to your firms? What do you think? Kind of just to start that conversation.
I have added it. I was absolutely terrified when you guys announced that you guys were going to be doing this, because we do have just like where everything just kind of bottlenecks. And so, because one person reviews kind of everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to see that they're sitting in the same spot forever and ever, and it's just going to look awful. And I mean, I was terrified. And then when it came out and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I was so excited because I was able to use it for client action versus like saying where we were. So if we're waiting for more information, like that's what it says, like, hey, we're waiting for more information, go check your messages to see what we're waiting for. For, you know, when we need their signatures, it's like, you know, if, you know, we may still be waiting for your spouse's signature, you know, or something along like those kinds of lines. You know, where it's, you know, we need something from you, this is what we need. And so they're seeing it kind of like up front and center when they log in versus having to go through multiple messages if they aren't checking their messages or something.
And
So that just
Katie,
helps so much.
Katie, how many clients do you think use the client mobile app?
Not enough. We're pushing it. We're trying to push it. You know, some people just don't want to add another app to their phone. And I get it, but it's just like, come on, like, just use it. Please use it.
I mean, just for everyone, why are you pushing the client mobile app? Because if I say, you know, Peter from TaxDome, of course he's gonna promote it, but why would you promote it?
One of the reasons we try and promote it is because we get photographs of documents that are illegible. We have gotten them where they're like 1 inch by 1 inch. So we try and push it for just like, please scan your documents through the app. Don't just take pictures. You know, download the mobile app because then, you know, if we're asking you a question, you can respond quickly. Like, you know, it's easier to communicate this way versus waiting, you know, you logging on randomly to the website. You know,
it's faster, right? You have your phone everywhere with you guys, you know.
And the nice thing about this feature is that the client, and this is, we had kind of the same fear, Katie, is the client's not seeing what we're seeing in TaxDome. They're literally only seeing when you toggle that on, you get a choice of what status, in progress, planned, whatever. They're not seeing our internal statuses, like all the stages we've developed in our pipeline. It's whatever status you pick under that client facing toggle, and then you just put your comments. That's all they're seeing. And so that's the nice thing. And then the other thing about the app, you know, I did a little bit of history on how many people will actually use your app. And if you push it enough, about 85% will adopt. You'll have that 15%. I'm a statistician, so this is what I do. So about 15% are going to push back, right? They're going to be like, no, I want to just come in or just send me an email. And then you've got the 5. And if you push those 15%, you're going to get 10% more of those in. And then you've got that 5% that's like, no, I'm coming in, I'm going to sign my documents. And we've struggled, Katie, as well. Like, how hard should we push? And it's a very gentle push, but we continually gentle push, because this is what makes the product and the, you know, the flow so great, is being able to do it on your phone. And once they see how easy it is and they use it once or twice, then you've got them.
Yeah.
And so doing it for maybe fun things, or trying to, hey, you know, we're offering a free $500 gift card, I don't know, whatever, you know, and getting them to adopt it, it's once you start as a company not being afraid to make that push, it just works, and people adopt it.
Another thing that was really cool about the client statuses is you can change them per client. So like, we have it set up in our workflow, you know, so that they're all the same, but I could go into, you know, whoever, and if I know that they're not going to check their messages, like they just never ever respond to messages, I could put, you know, we need blank, or, you know, something specific. Granted, I can only put so many, you know, so many characters, but I can at least kind of get something in there. Or like, you need to call the office, like we cannot get a hold of you, call the office, something, you know, important that I can get across. And by using it for things that we need from them, and only things that we need from them, I think that it helps it not be just another thing that's on there that they ignore.
And I don't remember who it was, but some of you guys posted in the community that they used this feature and they reduced it by half, the client communication check-ins got reduced by 50%. So just, even if you're scared that your clients see what the status is of the job, you know, make sure most of the times the clients, they just want to have this awareness. They just want to feel, okay, it is there, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah, my only concern about having it for like all the stages and saying like, okay, you're in tax prep, okay, we're waiting for information, is they're gonna just see it as like, okay, there's another thing going on, like whatever, and they're just gonna overlook it when we actually need information from them. So right now I'm only using it as like client action based.
If we put it as
if it pops up, they'll see like, okay, there's something there, I need to look at it, versus there's always something there and just kind of looking over it.
If we put it in the workflow, Ilya, I haven't actually added it to our workflow yet because we're in progress of doing that. We have so many pipelines. If we put it in the workflow as an automation and we set it to in progress, and it's in progress we set the automation every stage to in progress, they're not really going to see a change, right? It's just going to say in progress all the way till we decide that now it's whatever pending, right. And then the next, okay.
You can have it as a change, so it's fully customizable in the sense of what they see at every point. And I'll mention that I'll actually show that in a second there. But to your point, it's fully customizable. It's never done. You're always in full control of every single piece of content that they see. That's the main thing.
So if we set it as an automation in one stage and then don't have it change until another, does it stay in that? It stays in that.
Yeah. Precisely. Okay. Precisely. Great. No, I was just, before we go in there, I just wanted to, if we kind of circle back a little bit to the actual, the app and the benefit of it is,
yeah, it's huge.
It's really so just to put some numbers on it, this is the only portal that was in the top during tax season. It was in the top 100 of all apps on the iOS finance store. So, excuse me, in the category of finance. The other apps that were in there are all, big banks like Bank of America, TransferWise, Robinhood, other, real big names that your clients probably use there. There are no portals or anything else within a mile of it. And this app is extremely focused on the client experience. And that's really the key. The key there is that it's tailor-made for not just for the firm, because it's a different app from the firm, from the client. It's tailor-made to what does a client of an accounting firm need to do to interact with their accountant, their bookkeeper, their tax preparer. It is built, and every single use case is formulated around that itself. And the reason why you want to use it is it's genuinely just a better experience for them. There was actually a fantastic comment in the community from Chris Kennedy. I think that was the name, excuse me if I mispronounced it, but mentioned that she had sent a proposal to one of her clients, and the client said that she looked at it and it gave them confidence that the vendor that they're dealing with is capable, because it looked professional and it had a high quality of branding to them. So it made an impression on the client. And this is one of the main things that we're going for here is, if you are, if you're a Fortune 500 company, you've got the resources, you have an IT team that's going to build your own app, hopefully to give you something super quality that you can do for yourself. What we're doing here is we're giving, tax, bookkeeping, and accounting firms of all sizes a way to provide that super high quality client experience that's branded to you, to your clients, and really bringing that downstream. And that's one of the main things we wanted to do here. And the client-facing job status, where that comes in, is also giving them that peace of mind. So I think that was key, what Peter mentioned earlier in terms of the reduced questions. One of the most common questions that when we talk to practitioners is they get calls and they're just fielding, hey, where's my tax return? Where's my report? Where's this? And why are they reaching out to you? Is because they have that question, right? They're worried, are you going to get my job done on time? That's really what it is, right? Am I going to have penalties? Am I going to miss something? And by providing them that information front and center, you're actually able to A, reduce those questions, but B, give them the peace of mind that, hey, these guys are actually working on it. And we'll come into now actually the why you should care about this, right? So this is I think super, super important, is that most clients do not feel that they get an optimal experience from their accountant. I'm not talking about, everybody's like, not me, I do a fantastic job and so forth, but within the industry, a very high percentage of clients or people surveyed don't feel that their accounts deliver them the service that they're looking for. And almost a quarter every year are willing to switch and leave. Part of the reason is because they don't have that experience there. And at the same time, so the previous survey was from Sage, and this one is from Salesforce. And I thought this was fascinating, that 80% of customers say that the experience a company provides is almost as important as a product or service. And that's where I was talking about in terms of the peace of mind and so forth. Your clients can't, most of them are not able to read the tax return, right? How many of you even get them, struggle to have them even sign it? They just, say, yeah, go file it. They don't even look at it. But what they do experience is the interaction with your firm, how quickly you respond, whether or not they feel that they're going to meet the deadlines and so forth. So that's really what we're going for here, is to give you and your firm the ability to, really provide that higher level service to your clients without it being a huge administrative burden. You can hire 30 people, the bigger your firm gets, the more you can, to have an hour conversation with every client, walk them through it and so forth. And that's what we used to do, right? We used to hire all these admins that would just field phone calls, field emails and so forth. But what if you don't have to do that and you can provide this automatically within the portal? Saves them time, saves you time, better experience.
And money.
And money.
And generationally, we got to remember the group that's coming up that's going to be needing accountants. This is norm. This is what turned our decision from another piece of software versus TaxDome was the portal. That was actually one of our probably the number one on our list, was usability of the portal and the robustness of it, the ability that it's easy to use, but yet they can, we can do everything in there that we need to do.
I'm just looking at the attendee list if he's here, but I had recently a conversation with a firm, and close where they have their firm, another TaxDome firm closed their business just because they retired, and a bunch of their clients started looking for another accountant. And with this TaxDome firm I've talked to, they said, well, those clients, they came to me and asked, hey, do you use TaxDome? This was one of their first questions. Do you use TaxDome? Because if you don't, I'm not going to consider to be your client. So just to underline how important this client experience is and how it polishes your image as a firm.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Mind Body app. All of the health clubs now are going to that Mind Body app. And like, I love going to a gym or another location where they have it, because I already have an account. I'm already, set up in there. So that's very cool.
And the kind of, I think, Candice, is what you were asking before. This is the little, GIF we wanted to create. But as you see here, you see the little client-facing status at the bottom where it says waiting for client, and it changes. You can have it be updated. You can update it, one by one. You can update it automatically. And if you don't have an automation, it will stay the same until you can have it there. And at the same time, you can also have an automation that removes it. So for example, if you wanted, have it clear off of, their queue, you can have that happen as well there. So I think there were some questions here before about, client-facing statuses. Can you have will they see a different stage? What do they see? And kind of wanted to go in here. Every single thing that your clients see is fully customizable. So you have full control over every single piece of content that they will ever see within the client-facing status. You never have to worry about some note or a job name sliding in there accidentally. You have full control over every single thing that they see or don't see. It's a little toggle at the top to show if this thing is toggled off, the job status will leave their portal. So just kind of really wanted to keep that, highlight that. And also that the content does not have to be the same as your stage. So if you have a stage called, Mary's review, because Mary's your manager and you wanted to call it Mary's review, so it's clear for everybody, but you don't want your client to see that. You might have a different stage for your client and status for them. So everything is fully customizable within there.
Because every firm has their own tone of voice. Every firm positions themselves differently to their clients. So that's why, we made it as customizable as possible to be able to communicate your own way, how you present your brand and company.
And we'll actually talk about a little more about the brand within a little, in our next kind of section as well. But really wanted to get it across that every single thing is customizable, and it's just like the reporting. We know that a lot of times people want, they're not sure where to start. So we've put together some best practices of how to think about these client-facing statuses. So the first thing that I'd recommend, so first off, we've already added them in for you. So you already have in your template these generic custom facing statuses that that are there with in progress, need information from you. There's a couple more in there, so they're already ready. You can use them. You can modify them to your tone, as Peter said. But when you're thinking about these, just kind of wanted to highlight how to think about them and how you should create them. So first off is I'd recommend to make them general. Okay, you don't want to make it for every single. I mean, you can depending on your firm, but if you're doing this on a higher volume scale, you want to make them general. So make it say, we need information from you. Please see here. That's general. You don't have to make it, we need your 1099 statement. You can simply have one status that says, we need information, and then direct them there to where they're going to provide the information. Next thing you want to do is I would always recommend to have a clear whose ball is the court in. Are you waiting for us? Are we waiting for you? There's always somebody that you're waiting for. Or it could be you're waiting for, the IRS, in which case you'd say, hey, we're waiting for the IRS. We're going to check back for you. So you always want to provide the answers. If they call you, think of this as, what will my admin say if they call the office? A, do you need something from me, or who's waiting on who? Number 2 is, when can I expect an update? And number 3 is, what's the next step? So when you're creating these statements, think of it that way. So you want to say, for example, expect a response from us in X time, or don't reach out to us, we'll reach out to you. So you want to preempt those questions with the statement there that you have there. So Candice or Katie, how have you guys thought about it? I think Katie, you mentioned that you have the custom ones for each client. Is it for tax, bookkeeping, or what kind of clients are you doing this for?
Right now, we just have it set up for the tax clients. The way we have our bookkeeping stuff set up, it's like one job a week. We're still kind of playing with it how we want it. So I haven't set it up for that, but we definitely have it for the tax pipeline.
So my plan on this is to, like, for our bookkeeping pipeline, where the tax pipeline, it'll be simple enough based on the stages, because we haven't actually turned it on automation wise. People are using it, but on a one-off. And so on an automation wise, what I'm thinking on a bookkeeping, we have each of our months set up as a stage. And then we have quarterlies set up as a stage as well. And so I feel like we could definitely utilize these stages for your month ends are complete, because we actually want them to, I think there's a review that we want them to do, or it's available for you to look at, so they can go into their QBO account, check it out, see what's going on. Make sure that we, everything was done correctly. So I could see us definitely using it for that, that your month-end books are done, or your quarterly review is done, or whatever it is that needs to be completed. I'm excited about it. I didn't honestly know it was until it was on an automated feature. I knew it was in there, but I didn't know it was available as automated on the workflow. So I think with the number of pipelines that we have, and we could definitely use this.
We actually, just to let you guys know, we're discussing right now to make some best practice live webinars on our community.
Love it.
And maybe you guys can join, or someone else can join and show them how they're using the best practices now for client-facing statuses.
Awesome.
So keep an eye on this. Yeah.
And actually, this brought to an interesting thing is in terms of showcasing the value to your clients. I actually, especially for clients that I do, again, this is pure preference, so please take this with a grain of salt. I think it's really important to actually showcase to your clients what you've done for them. So a lot of times, if you think about it in the business, in kind of corporate world, a lot of times you have these meetings called, QBRs, where your goal is to meet with the client and effectively show them the value that you deliver to them. So within this, where it says in the top right corner, show in client portal, if you're completing a lot of jobs to your client, I personally would actually never get rid of them. Just make the last stage say, completed. And then your client will see just how much, because just how much work you've done for them. And they'll always have it. They'll see the more recent jobs first, but they'll be able to access those as well. I think that's a great, personally, again, my personal preference of not removing them. I mean, we have the option to remove it, to hide it once it's done, but I actually think you're better off having it there. And if you think of other softwares that you've ever had orders from, you are always able to see the order history there. Why? Because, so think of it from that perspective. And I think that we actually got some pushback from some people because they felt that something like this was actually devaluing their brand because it made it more equated to something like a, pizza delivery or something there where you're getting these tracker updates. But I actually think that just depends on how you frame it, right? At the end of the day, you're delivering a service. You're delivering, you're delivering value to your clients. And what you're doing here is actually providing them the ability to see what you've done for them and what the status is of each job. It's not a discussion of the actual quality of the job or what you're delivering. It's more of a, we're a service provider, and these are the services that we've provided you in the past.
Plus, I mean, you get a million emails as a customer, of anything. And I would much rather just have it, to go in my app and you train your clients, oh, check the app. Oh, check the app. Oh, check the app. And have them be able to go, instead of sending a ton of emails throughout your workflow, you're now just updating them on the status and they're not missing emails. Cause I know on one of my personal emails, I have like 4,000 emails in there and I would miss one. So because you get inundated with spam and you don't know what you need. And that's why I like this feature is I think this is going to be really helpful in communication. Yeah,
I think that's the main, we're kind of finishing up this segment, but really everyone's got a tone that you want to keep, whether or not you're more personable with your clients, whether or not you have a more corporate approach. It really depends on your brand and your tone and the language that you want to use. But we wanted to give you really the tool set to be able to provide that so that you can really reduce the incoming questions. And as Peter mentioned, people have been reporting very high reductions in those incoming questions because your clients are able to access it themselves. And if you think about it, again, in so many other tools that your clients are using, this is something that they're already used to, right? Yeah. They're used to being able to access that. And the accounting world is one of the few places where they're not. And, a lot of people just have anxiety about not being in control. And by doing this, you can provide them the control that they're looking for, but within the controlled environment of what you want them to see, exactly the tone that you want them to see. And, if you want them to see it at all.
Yeah.
All right. So then we're moving on to our final segment. This is redesigned invoices. So this is actually the first two features are already on production for everybody. This one is currently in beta. So you guys don't see this yet unless you're in the beta group. But main thing that we wanted to really get across here is, again, to promote your brand. So the same thing that Peter, you were talking earlier about being able to have your brand front and center. We really wanted you to be able to do that. So Peter, do you want to just talk about this for a little a second real quick?
I mean, of course, in general, you want to create this relationship with your client, right? So to build this trust that they feel, okay, this is a professional firm. Because we all know there are a lot of firms out there who offer a similar service, maybe like you. And in the end of the day, you want to outstand somehow. And those kind of redesigned invoices, which makes it super customizable for you to brand your invoice how you want it to be, creates exactly this trustful relationship with your client.
And one of the ways to do this, everybody is used to, is invoicing, right? So when you present your client with an invoice, we've wanted to add in much more customization to each firm so that you can present your brand into how you want it. So what we've done here is a lot of firms that we were talking to, they have brand guidelines, right? So they've reached out to either marketing firms and so forth, and they provided them with specific brand guidelines, which might include your colors, right? So how you want to present your clients. And we figured that invoices were the best place to start with that, in the sense of being able to present your guidelines, because when somebody's paying the invoice, you want them to think of your brand as much as they can. So one of the ways that we've done here is for your logo, you can choose how prominent it is and where it actually is on the invoice. And secondly, the color of the invoice and the accents that are there. So once you guys, for those of you in the beta group, play with this. We've gotten really good feedback so far. And for those of you, not in the beta group, this will be available in production within the next month or so.
Something also to mention here is, at the end of the day, it's an invoice, right? So it's where the client needs to pay something. So there's money involved, and it is super important to follow also your, like Ilya says, the brand guidelines, corporate identity. Is this aligned with my brand? And from the very beginning of a client onboarding through the process, overpayment, and then maybe also offboarding, you want to have a one red line. And this is where we help you to have this red line.
And then also on the same exact tone, we got a lot of feedback before that some of the content in the invoice, firms have different preferences of what they want to show on the invoice. So you can now customize that. So for example, if you want to, for many firms, they don't have tax, or they don't provide taxable services. So you can hide that column fully if you want to. So you can decide what information is visible on each invoice. You can set them for your firm. And then second, you can do is show custom account fields. So especially in some jurisdictions, you actually need to show, the address of the client, or you need to show I believe that's the case in some countries. You need to show the address of the client, or you show the client number, or it's not an official invoice. You can have the custom fields automatically populate on the invoice. And then finally, we added in the ability to add notes. So for those of you that do QuickBooks invoicing or other ones, this is also a common feature there. So we've added that as well. But when you're creating an invoice, you can add in a note there as well. This was also a commonly requested feature. So within this is much more, I would say, yes, it's promoting your branding, but more so bringing the invoicing up to par, I think, where it should be. Whereas the first two features, I think, are much more of a real difference makers in your firm in terms of the reporting for their firm operations and the client-facing status of the client experience. Oh, and one final thing here is you now have the ability to also preview an invoice. A lot of times when people were creating them, they want to see what it looks like. So when you're creating an invoice, there's a preview button so you can see exactly what it's going to look like for your clients before sending it out. All right, I think that was it. We've been, team on here. Thank you so much. You guys have been doing a hell of a job in answering all the Q&A. So you guys, we've answered over 100 questions there, and I think our team is going to answer a few more. And we're going to send out the transcript as well. Katie, Candice, thank you very much. This has been super helpful. Is there any topics that we discussed before that that you felt we either didn't cover fully, or that you wanted to add any comments on before we kind of wrap up to go to the Q&A?
No, I thought today was great, and covered a lot of my questions.
Yeah, I agree. I think we covered everything pretty well.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot of questions that are being asked here. I'm just going to address a couple. One is about the beta group. So we sunsetted the early access program. And we put out a letter of why we did that and kind of our approach. But we do have a beta group available. So our team will put the link in the transcript that we'll send out, but it's also in our community and the email that we sent out, a link to apply for the beta group as well. There were some questions also about the Mac app. So we're bringing the Mac app back. That was always the plan, but it's been kind of redesigned with the new technology that Mac has put out. So there will be a separate beta group for that, because the beta group normally is for your firm. The Mac app is an individual user based. So there's a separate beta group to apply for that. So we actually just put out the form. Please complete that, and then we're going to send that off to you as soon as that's done. Peter, were there any other questions? Yeah, please.
Yeah, there was a question about the bootcamp. So yes, there is also another bootcamp planned. Please watch out for the new date. We really recommend to attend it. It's a week long, great workshops. The previous one, we had over 1,000 attendees. Don't want to miss this out.
Do you guys have any plans on doing in either live or in-person reporting training? I do think that would be worthwhile. So people can ask questions on the fly, building basic reports. I do think that would be probably, because it is robust and it can be overwhelming when you first get in there. But then once you start using it, you can see it's actually very simple. So I'm just wondering if maybe you have any plans to do that.
I mean, what we can do is what I mentioned before, to make a live session on our community, and then some of you guys can join, and we can make it super interactive.
Okay.
And what
Great.
with that, actually, that's we actually thought about that initially. But we actually decided to do the recording of it just because it's it is an in-depth feature, and everyone has different reports that they're looking at. We wanted to do it in a format that you can stop, you can rewind, you could easily go back. So we've recorded, I believe it's about 45-minute webinar that it really goes into the nuts and bolts of how to create these reports, how to drill down into the actual how to use it, and in a practical sense. So we're waiting kind of really for feedback on that, just to see how that's going, and then if we missed anything there, just because the feedback we got initially was that it was the kind of thing that you really want to sit down and do, really be able to do on your own time versus a live. Because
That's
people
true.
learn different speeds, so that if we were to do live, we'd either be too fast for some people and too slow for others. But we're always looking to kind of amend those.
It's under how it works, right?
Yeah, if you go to how it works, it has like the breakdown of each piece.
Yeah, I was just making sure everybody knew where it was.
On Isla's page that he had alerts on there. Is that
the thresholds?
Under reports, under reporting, you had alerts. And I know under where it says how it works, there is a page, or like a page about how to create those, but we don't actually have that.
Okay, well, we're going to add that into the transcript. We'll definitely make sure we add in the webinar link to that transcript as well. And we'll also check the link in the portal. But actually, you mentioned threshold, alerts. There's actually one thing we kind of, I actually forgot to add in here, but remember when we were talking about the scheduled emails? So
we don't have, I can't find that anywhere. I was looking for it, and I can't find that anywhere on our.
Okay, so we'll put that. So our team will put that in the transcript as well. But there's one other thing that's in there, within there, in the same area, is what's called thresholds. So you can set alerts. Say, I want to be alerted when so-and-so KPI goes above or below a certain number. So perhaps you don't want to know about it every week or every month, but you want to know when a certain number is reached. You can also set those as well. So we're going to put that with that, and then put the help of how to actually build those and set those up in the transcript as well.
Yeah, I just noticed we didn't have access to those two features, so.
Yeah.
Also, there are a lot of questions about Zero. So we depend on your feedback and also on your insights, how you want to use this integration. So I please send us an email to success@taxdome.com, and our product team can reach out to you to make an interview and understand your workflows and how this integration should look like. Because this will help us a lot to plan accordingly and know what we have to do.
And actually, there's one final question I want to address. There's a question about the app for mobile for firm practitioners. So before we were talking about the client mobile app, but I have a whole overhaul of the firm mobile app. And actually today I was just watching a demo from our team about global chats being available. So on the mobile app in the near term, you're actually gonna be able to see all the chats across all your clients in one place. And we're working on the same exact function for the Global Communication Center on the desktop. But the Firm mobile app is currently in development to have a bunch of updates, including global chats and workflow being added to there as well. So to those of you that like to access your information on the go as a practitioner, we're working on big improvements for that right now as well.
That sounds great.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. I had a great time. I want to say a huge thank you to Katie and to Candice for joining us. Your insights are definitely very valuable, and kind of hearing it from your perspective, because me and Peter, we're obviously, we work at TaxDome. We're very we have a certain mindset, but for us, it's really important for people to see, real practitioners just like them, how they're thinking, how you think about it, what you find valuable, what you don't, how you apply things, and how you think about, within the context of running and growing your firms, how to implement some of these things to really let you do that. So thank you so much for participating.
Thank you for having
Absolutely.
me.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye. Thanks.